Candidates keep calling. It's a little less than a month away from election time, and they want to appear on the show. And we will give them all the opportunity. We've heard from Glenn Chalokian. We've heard from Seth Piccirillo running for mayor. Have not heard from Mr. Elder yet, but he is welcome to contact us. To give you a number in a moment. And we have heard from Bobby Restaino. He was here when he first announced and will reappear, I understand, before the primary. And we'll let you know when that happens. But his first appearance, in all fairness, because all the other politicians have made return visits, his first appearance was an interesting one, and he laid out his platform and what he'd like to do, and we'll get to that in the public interest coming up next. I like to call this the fun time of year. It's time for entertaining and to visit with friends and relatives and to pick out a special gift for a certain someone. You know what that makes it? It makes it the perfect time to visit Supermarket Liquors and Wines, Niagara's largest liquor store with all your favorites to choose from at Niagara Falls Boulevard and Military Roads. Now, if you want a preview, you can check them out online right now at supermarketliquor.com. They're open 7 days a week, late nights, Friday and Saturday till midnight, with plenty of free, brightly lit parking in front of the store. And there's always plenty of cashiers there to speed you on your way if you're in a hurry. But if you want to browse, it's Niagara's largest liquor store with great gift-giving ideas and selections, whether it's wine or liquors. You know, when you're as big as Supermarket Liquors and Wines, a great gift doesn't have to be expensive. And you can see what I mean when you check out their specially custom-bottled tequila and bourbons, hand-picked by owner Chris Castellani at Supermarket Liquors and Wines. Supermarket Liquors and Wines in the Mill Pine Plaza on Niagara Falls Boulevard, just moments from the Fashion Outlet Mall. Visit them soon or check them out right now at supermarketliquor.com.
The opinions expressed on NiagaraBroadcastNetwork.com are those of the host and the guest, not of management or the sponsors.
The Sal and Rose Show.
Well, let me first off tell you that we're here live. This is Friday. We're live till 7:30 p.m. After that, if you're watching, you missed a live show. But we got a good one for you today. And we're going to give you a chance to call in. Our number is 333-3020. Before I introduce our guest, I just want to apologize. My fault. I did it. I screwed up the last scheduling. Bobby Restaino's with us.
It's not him. It's you, Sal. It's you.
I said it was my fault. I did. I don't know. I don't know if you said Friday, Monday, Wednesday. I'm working midnights and.
But he's here. That's all that matters.
I know, but when I get up, I'm like in a daze. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
We go back quite a ways. We've worked on various campaigns and been friends for years. And now you tell me you want to run for mayor.
That's right.
And my question is, why in the world, in this city?
Well, I said when I walked in, I go, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Yes." Yes.
Well, I suppose the best way to sum it up for me, I'm at a point in my personal and professional business career where my kids are grown and they have been fortunate enough to pursue careers that have given them their own stability. Myself, my wife and I, we have always, our heart's always been in Niagara Falls, and we've suffered through, like so many of you have, the difficulties that Niagara Falls has faced. 4 years ago, I wanted to run for mayor, but chose at that point not to for some family reasons, reasons that had more to do with some of the plans that my daughter had. So now that this opportunity is present, there was, other than, of course, my wife objecting, there wasn't anything that was going to keep me from doing this. We have a $12 million structural deficit, among a number of other things that I think I would like to see changed in the way our city operates. And so I thought the time is right now.
If you would have done this 4 years ago, like you said, you thought about it, would it have been easier?
Well,
I mean, for the city.
Well, I will tell you, 4 years ago, while we were still doing the things that we're doing 4 years later, a lot of the damage that we're now confronting, it certainly would have been less. And what I would have done at that point is introduce some changes that might have made our circumstances today a little less difficult. It's like anything else. You know, if you've got that difficult thing going on in your home, if you ignore it for 4 years, it's not going to go away. It's only going to get worse. And so in this particular case, our home has had 4 more years of, I guess, deterioration would be the best way to describe it.
So I guess the main question is, we need to fix things. I know that.
Right.
How are you going to, what do you propose? How can you do it? You know what? I look at things and I go,
Well, you always say, I just don't see how it can be
well, I think
fixed."
this city's like hopeless, but obviously you don't think so.
No, I'm not going to tell you that it's not a difficult job, and I'm not going to tell you that there's a ready, fixed, quick answer. There isn't. The answer is going to take an awful lot of work, and it's going to take a number of people coming together to get that done. It's going to take business leaders and public and private union folks. It's going to take government leaders from a variety of levels of government. Not only county government, which I think we need to reintroduce ourselves to the County of Niagara and ask for the kind of assistance that, as county residents, we can get from them. But it's also going to take working cooperatively with our neighbors, Lewiston, Town of Niagara, Town of Wheatfield, because you know the progressive, the communities of today have learned how to work in concert with one another. Mm-hmm. They find ways to be supportive of each other, not engaged in that business where I have to get what I get before you get it. We need to work in a way that helps all of the taxpayers in our particular region reap the benefits of our collective efforts.
But you know what? I've been
Sure.
hearing this for years. I've been
Okay.
hearing we got to share services. We have to, you know what? And everybody says basically the same thing as what you're saying. But for years, I have seen very, very little in sharing anything.
But see, Sal, I'm not talking about just shared services. That's what people want to boil down my conversation to. It's just shared services over and over again. It's not. I'm not talking about just sharing services. I'm talking collaborating on development. I'm talking in a number of ways to work as a larger unit to attract business to our area. You know, you're not going to fix this with a $12 million cut of jobs, and you can't fix it with a $12 million tax increase because we have a tax cap. So one of the only ways we can improve things is to expand the business community. Business brings jobs. Jobs bring the opportunity for people to have their own individual prosperity, helps them buy homes, revitalize neighborhoods. That's what's going to bring our city back.
Why hasn't it happened, though?
I don't think that I don't think that over this short term that we've been experiencing, I think that politics and the politics of division is what has resulted in the difficulties we have today. Look, it's no secret that county government at this point has been dominated for quite some time by the Republican Party of the county. And for me, and that's why I'm taking this step. For me, Democrat, Republican, there's no Democrat way to fix a pothole, and there's no Republican way to plow a street. All that there really is an opportunity to work with your government partners in getting that stuff done. I have already had the opportunity to speak with a variety of county government officials, and they've said it to me. We've been hoping to do some work in Niagara Falls. We just haven't felt welcome. So the short answer to your question, it's opening that door up again. It's building that bridge, not digging that moat that's been dug for many, many, many years around Niagara Falls, thinking we can do it alone, we don't need anybody else's help. That's gone. The idea now is that when you have this kind of disparity between expenses and revenue, you need help. You need help from everyone. And there are people in the city of Niagara Falls. I know that some of the proposals that have been made have been met with scathing public scorn. But I think that's more a function of not communicating well. I don't think that the people in the city of Niagara Falls want to see the city fail. I think, like me, there's many people that want to see it succeed. They want the city to get back on a better track and to move forward. Well, I think what I need to do is I need to invite them all into the conversation about it, not exclude them, not come up with a plan, roll it out and say, here it is, and you should just be thankful that I created it.
We could do that right here. We're at 333-3020. You could call that number, 333-3020, until 7:30 Friday night. This program will repeat, so you could watch us over and over again, but at your convenience. But if you want to get in, 333-3020. So we'll let the people get in. You got to put headphones on.
Okay.
And we'll talk to them, and let's find out what is on their mind. Hi, you're on the air with Bob Restaino.
Hi, Sal. Hey, Bob, how you doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
Bob, good, Bob. You mentioned about this $12 million structural deficit. Now, this can't be fixed overnight.
Right?
How do you propose to even attempt to start knocking away that $12 million? All right, because unless you raise taxes or cut services, this is a big debt. How can you do this? How can you fix this part?
You've hit the nail right on the head. That's the whole problem. It is big, and neither of those options, cutting jobs, cutting services, or raising taxes, is going to do it alone. Some of the things that I talk about and have been talking about are right now. I have sort of sketched out, if we were to work collaboratively with some of the other government agencies around, there's a way that if you hit a home run, you could shave $5 million right from the expense side of the budget. Now, I realize that whenever you're going to do that kind of work, it's a give and take. So let's assume that the $5 million isn't really going to work, and that what we're going to get is maybe half of that pie. Still, the opportunity by working collaboratively with the county, working collaboratively with some of our neighbors on how we deliver service, which may mean some reduction in workforce, but more importantly, it may just mean a shifting of the workforce rather than a reduction. And what you end up doing is you end up delivering the same service, you deliver it cost effectively, and everybody in the area that is sharing is reaping the benefit of a more economical government.
Okay, another concern I have is neighborhood redevelopment. All right, I think this is a very big key to redevelopment Niagara Falls.
Say that again for me.
Neighborhood redevelopment, bringing people back into their neighborhoods.
Right.
All right. Now, I'm a believer of a couple of things here. One, you're on the school board audit, so you understand this. I think if you work with your school district, all right, and your realtors start marketing the city out in the market as affordable housing, attract people back into the city, because people aren't going to come in if they know the school system isn't good.
Right.
So I think if you work with the school system, the realtors, and all our neighbors involved, and start bringing them back into the city, we can start redeveloping our neighborhoods. Because if you start bringing them back into your neighborhoods, two things are going to, well, first is you're going to create a tax base. You're going to help small businesses because that's going to support like Pine Avenue, even eventually Main Street.
Right.
I think it's a big key.
Well, if I can just jump in, you're right. And the only way that I think we can provide for the revitalization of neighborhoods in that way is to expand the job opportunities for people in the community. You know, we live in a place that is, the median income here is a little over $32,000. You know, all across New York State, the median income is $60,000 plus. In Niagara County, it's $50,000 plus. So we live in a place where our median income is below every other place you may want to compare us to. So one of the things that I think we have to do in order to put people in a position to buy homes, own a home, revitalize a neighborhood, is we've got to be able to create an environment where jobs are created. And some of the ways you do that is, again, by working with your development partners to come in and start showcasing Niagara Falls as a place to bring your business. You know, you're right about the school district. We need to work collaboratively with the school district, and as president of the school board, we've been asking for that. I have asked our administrative staff to try and see what they can do to help in conjunction with the city's administrative staff. Unfortunately, to date, so many of those things just went by the wayside. Despite the fact that our folks in the district are making suggestions, they're just not being received well.
I mean, we're only 20 minutes from Buffalo.
Right.
And Buffalo's housing is just going to skyrocket. And Niagara Falls, to me, is an untapped market.
Right.
So, you can bring people in from Buffalo, moving to Niagara Falls, all right, whether it's a job here or not. We should bring them into our neighborhoods, paying our taxes, spending their money in our city. I mean, that's one way of looking at it. I understand we want to try to create jobs. I'm a big believer in light warehousing. I think we have a lot of opportunity to take advantage of what you see on Indicon Drive.
Yeah,
We're not even touching that market.
You're right. That's a particular market. Do you know that there is $30 billion in trade between New York State and Canada? In the state of New York, there are a little more than 700 Canadian companies providing over 70,000 jobs to New Yorkers. And we are situated in a location that we should be able to get some of this opportunity, and yet we're not going out after it. And maybe we're not going out after it because we don't have all of the necessary horses in the race. Maybe we need to work more cooperatively, again, with the County of Niagara. We need to work with our friends across the border to try and see those. I have clients who are, they are Canadian business people. And many of the Canadian businesses are looking for a U.S. address, an opportunity for them to expand their market. And yet, we don't seem to be attracting those folks.
They're already at Indicon Drive, Whitmer Industrial Estate. They're out of room over there.
Yep.
They're coming, I know they're coming over here. And, and that's going to create decent paying jobs.
Yes.
To increase the trucking business.
Yes.
All right. And there's a major shortage of truck drivers in this country.
Yep.
And to get people back in the road, maybe driving truck, doing their deliveries. They're here. They're looking to expand.
You're right.
Because we have to take advantage. I think Highland Ave is a good area for that industrial area there. Maybe you can work with the Santa Rosa group with their property.
Yep.
To maybe develop that into like warehousing. But you have to figure out, I always say you have to look outside the box.
That's right.
I think you need the state to be helpful. Representatives from the state have to be a major player. And I think also the federal government has to be a major player. Because you're not going to do this. Whoever wins the elections is not going to do it by themselves.
See, you've hit the nail on the head, and that's what I was saying just before your call. I mean, the idea is at a $12 million structural deficit, that's never going to get done simply by flipping some switch. As I've said to a few people, and if it were as simple as take 2 aspirins, drink plenty of fluids, and call me in the morning, somebody would have done it already. So it is difficult. It's going to be difficult. But you're right. With that type of collaboration, which is exactly what I'm proposing, and I've had the opportunity to speak to our state representatives, they're on board. They're all ready to do whatever they can to help. Nobody, and I understand your sense, Sal, that, geez, you've been hearing this for a long time. Sometimes is it hopeless? But I really think that the folks in the city don't think it's hopeless. I think what they want is they want leadership that recognizes that we can't go it alone, that we do need help, and is not afraid to reach out for help regardless of the affiliation of the representative who we're going to talk to. And that's certainly where my head has been for all the nearly 35 years of my business and professional career. I don't ask people what their registration is or what their thoughts on one thing or the other is. I just want to know, do you have a good idea? Let's get it done.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I hope whoever wins this election doesn't join the group of our past mayors who let Niagara Falls down. This is exclusive club.
Thank you.
Thank you for your call. He makes a lot of good points, although I've been for years hearing kind of the same thing. We got to reach out to business. We got to do this. Am I just to believe that the people here didn't want to do it because of politics or whatever? Or is there something about this area that's unattractive to people here?
When county officials tell me that they are dying to do work, because I invite them, I tell them, look, God willing, and I win this thing, you guys are going to be on speed dial because I need your help. And their response is, we'd love to do some stuff in Niagara Falls, we're just not welcome there. So I'm not making that up on my own. This is what they're telling me.
It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling to me. Because we're the big enchilada, Niagara Falls. That's the name that everybody knows.
Right. Well, when you
You know?
Yes, that's right. And when you go out into any community, it could be anywhere else in New York State, it could be anywhere else in the country, and I dare say it could be anywhere in the world. You can mention Niagara Falls and people know what it is and where
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
Some don't know that there's a city attached to it. They think it's just
Just the falls.
Just the water.
falls.
Just a
We're a
bunch of water,
suburb
yeah.
of Buffalo.
We're at 333-3020. And Robert Restaino says we're going back to the phone.
Okay.
Hi, hello, you're on the air.
Is that me?
That's you.
Hey, Mr. Restaino, it's Dave here.
Hi, Dave.
Look, I got complete respect for you, man. You're a lawyer, you're a smart person and everything else. I'm going to kind of put you in a corner. I want to see what kind of answer you're going to give me on this.
I'll try.
Look, I just don't understand the reasoning of this. We were in a $12 million deficit. The city was hurting financially. We have people moving from apartment to apartment in shopping carts. It's going down really fast. But yet, our council and the mayor was only able to find $145,000 in cuts, and yet they went out. They had the golden opportunity here to open up the books and tell the unions that we are broke, we can't give you any raises. What did they do? They caved in to the unions, gave them 7-year contracts with raises for the next 7 years, with not knowing what the deficit's going to be like, or if we're even going to get any settlement from the casino. How would you handle something like that? I know that, I'm a staunch union man too. I lost my job in one of the factories over here when they shut down. I ended up opening a garage and everything else. I mean, I busted my ass, but things worked out all right for me. How are you going to handle this situation? Because all these councilmen, everybody over the years, they caved into the unions and they busted the taxpayers back. What say you?
Okay, well, Dave, let me just say this. As a guy who was a union, you say you're a union guy. I don't begrudge the unions for coming to the table and asking for the things that they ask for. That's what their job is in the representation of their membership. That's what they should do in order to try and advance the needs and the desires of their union membership. Where I place the responsibility is on management, in this case the administration. You need to come to the table too with a realistic approach as to what you can afford. And then I think, born out of that conversation, there could be some real resolution that doesn't penalize the rest of the taxpayers as a result of whatever requests are made by any particular public union. Instead, we have had negotiations. The administration has taken the position that they'll just find the money, whether that money is from reserves, whether that money is from casino funds. They're going to find some way to fund whatever it is that they think they need to do for whatever reason, whether it's politics, whether it's just not having the courage to say no, whatever it is. So in some respects, I think that the responsibility sits with the administration going into those discussions. So to answer your question directly, I know that if I were in those conversations, I'm not looking to hurt anybody. I'm not looking to hurt anybody's job. I'm not looking to hurt anybody's family income. But what I am looking to do is to try and make it make sense. And so my approach in that negotiation, as it would be in any negotiation that I've been involved with over my career, would be to sit and talk reasonably and rationally about what I could offer as opposed to what you're requesting. And then at that point, we try to find a way where we can meet in the middle somewhere. So I think that the difficulty in all of this was that I don't know that the administration went into the conversation with a realistic approach to what they could afford.
Yeah, when the cupboard's broke, when there's no more money in there, how can you justify it?
That's the
when
point.
you had the golden opportunity to open up the books and say, here it is, we don't have any money. They did the same thing with us over here at the paper mill with Kimberly-Clark, Cellular, and Nitec. We'd love to give you a raise. We don't have the money now. Here it is. They open up the books. How are you going to give raises when we're broke? But yet we have councilmen over here, and we have the mayor over here that wants to go out and reassess the properties. They want to raise the taxes. They want to come up with tote fees. I hope that you're not one of these people, man, because enough is enough. I mean, there's no more money left in the city. There's no more jobs. We lost Globe. It wasn't the city's fault. We lost it. It's 100 jobs. We lost DuPont, over 125 jobs. Kmart, even though there wasn't high-paying jobs, I imagine it had to have been 50, 60 people employed there. And even Tonawanda-Coke, I know people that worked at Tonawanda-Coke that lived here in Niagara Falls, but yet to go on out and raise taxes and to talk about fees, there's got to be a better way. I'm looking to you. I mean, you're a smart man. You're a lawyer. Deister wasn't a lawyer. These people that are on the council, they're just looking for votes because they don't want to lose their position. And that's all it is. They pacified. Can you help the city of Niagara Falls? Would you help the poor people? Right now, it's an alarming rate where the elderly people here, and this city's loaded up with them, or they're on a fixed income, a very tight fixed income. They're losing their homes left and right for back taxes, and the slum landlords are buying them, fixing them up, and renting them out. We got to do something about this situation here. And it isn't chasing with money and everything else. I was hoping that a control board would come in here because the situation we have now, there's nobody with any backbone to stand up, make the necessary cuts or anything else. Look what happened, for example, over here at Hyde Park Golf Course.
Right.
They take 10 full-time guys out of there, and what do? They put them in the DPW and hire 5 part-timers to run the place. Is this sound judgment? And one more thing, Mr. Restaino. I'm going to tell you, my neighborhood, I've been born and raised on the east side. I'm probably going to die here. But my God, I got a lot invested into this area, and I keep my property up 100%. I can't get anybody over here. Since Seth Piccarella took over with community development, he's going out and pulling funds away from this area and everything else. There's condemned buildings all over on Niagara Street, on East Fall Street here. Can't get nothing torn down. 24th Street, it's like a third world country. Buildings all burnt, boarded up and everything else. What would you do? Can we get something to do this, to combat this situation? I'm looking for you as a strong person, not somebody that's going to pacify the union. I'm looking towards you to go on out and take this job on, not for a big payroll, but to do something to the poor people, the poor bastards out here that are still left in the city.
Thank you, Dave. Let's see what he's got to say.
David, thank you so much for your comments, and I agree with you. We live in a community that has 22% of the community is at or below the poverty level. Think about that. That's almost 1 in 4 in our community. We also deal with 66% of our community is receiving some type of government check, whether it's unemployment, pension, Social Security, or public assistance. So you're right. We have a community that's poor, and I do believe that we have opportunities to bring jobs. As to the blight situation that you talk about, there are better ways that we can use some of our community development money, and some of it is to clean up some of these things. The opportunity to take blight out of a neighborhood in a condemned home. And we used to do that. I mean, there were folks who championed the kind of neighborhood attention that you're talking about. So it's not like it's never been done before in our community, and quite frankly, I think it's an appropriate way for us to balance the need to improve neighborhoods by investing in them, as well as improving them by reducing some of the blight that's in them that can be torn down. Now, one of the other industries that we don't pay an awful lot of attention to, and you've been seeing it, the hospital, Memorial Hospital, just announced another partnership, another opportunity to expand its services. The healthcare industry is an industry that is growing. We see it in the medical corridor in Buffalo, and I also watch the way the board of directors, as well as Joe Ruffalo at the hospital, are expanding their campus. We have, as I indicated, we have larger unemployment in our community than in any other place in our region. And specifically, it hits females between the ages of 25 and 34 the hardest. They are the largest group that are unemployed. Oddly enough, or perhaps a good plan, is the fact that 80% of healthcare workers are females. 80% of the healthcare industry is occupied by females. So the opportunity for us to partner with Memorial Medical Center to expand the type of healthcare industry that they're developing there also provides for good paying jobs and also helps dent that particular demographic of females between the ages of 25 and 34 that we want to get into the workforce, that we want to get them to be able to be productive
What
and
does
do.
that-
I'm sorry.
What does that mean when you say partner with them? I mean, what
We
give them money now out of our casino revenue.
I'm not necessarily talking about giving money. I'm talking about the needs. I've had a chance to sit with the folks over at Niagara Falls Memorial Medical Center. There are some small things that they would need the city of Niagara Falls to cooperate in terms of land and in terms of grant work that could help improve that campus. They're just not getting any response. There's no responsiveness. My first approach with them would be whatever we can do to help you expand the corridor that you're building makes sense for us, makes sense for the city. Because if you look at Memorial Medical Center, it's one of the largest employers in Niagara Falls. Why wouldn't we want to partner with them to do whatever we can to improve their footprint in the city? It's not only is it good for jobs, but I think it's also good in terms of health care.
I don't really know. I've watched so many people say they were going to come and do things in the city, and so many people say we're going to reach out to, and nothing happens, and I scratch my head and go, why doesn't anything happen? Why aren't we? I mean, you're saying, how are you going to reach out and get these things done? Are you going to put a department together of people that will do this? Or, I mean,
We don't need any more
what's the
departments.
change?
We don't need any more departments. We don't need any more new jobs in government. We don't need any of that, Sal. That's the last thing in the world I want to do. What I want to do is I want to listen to Joe Ruffalo and the Board of Trustees at Niagara Falls Memorial Medical Center and say to them, how do we help you? What do you need us to do to help you? Because they've already got the ideas. They're good thinkers over there. They've been able to partner with Roswell. They've been able to partner to build a heart center. So they know what they're doing. You know, I've said to so many people, and I apologize for what might end up being a shameful plug, but, you know, if I want bread, I'm not going to tell DiCamello's how to bake it. They know how to do it. They don't need me to step in and tell them what to do. Developers know what they want. These folks over at Memorial Medical Center, they know what they need. What we need to do is simply ask, how do we help you, and how do we get that done? I want City Hall's approach to be, you know, the easiest answer to give to somebody is no, because after you say no, there's nothing else to do. What I want to do is I want to say to them, okay, what do you have on the drawing board in your place, and how do we help you get there?
But we have departments now that are supposedly supposed to help develop. What are they doing? Aren't they talking to people?
I don't work in
Are
City
they-
Hall. I'm the only guy in this race that isn't in city government. So I can't. So to answer your question, I can't, because I don't know what they're doing in City Hall. I don't know what's going on there. I can tell you this: I've seen enough of what's not going on that it's caused me to say to you and to the listeners and viewers, I want to get in there and I want to change things.
Let me ask you this. I've said this for years. We have people that are involved, and I don't even know who they are, but community development and that. I don't know if they come back every day and go, boss, here's 10 people I've reached out to this week to see if they want to come to Niagara Falls and build or develop or anything. I mean, would something like that be feasible? Let me see who you're talking to. Tell me what you're doing. I mean, I don't really think that's happening now.
Well, I think you hit on a very good point. Accountability is important. Accountability within the departments is important. Accountability within the public safety unions. Accountability within the other departments of city government. You're right. You know, Dave calls and talks about the city unions. The gentleman before him as well. You know, I don't think that the city workers aren't responsible. I think they're very responsible. I think they're good folks who do the best they can every day they go to work. But I do think that our department heads need to be accountable for what goes on or what doesn't go on within their department. So I agree with you. Is it as simple as, hey, look, Mr. or Mrs. City Administrator, this is what I did today? You know, am I suggesting that it needs to be like you coming home from kindergarten and you show your mom that you made this nice flower? I'm not suggesting that that's the answer, but I do think accountability is important. I think when something isn't progressing, it's incumbent upon the administration, the leaders of that administration, to go in and say, why isn't this happening? Maybe there is something that we need to fix within the construct of government. Maybe that's important to take a look at. You know, maybe there are some things that we need to disconnect that have been connected over the years, that maybe it's better to have those departments not necessarily linked together. I won't know that And at this point, I can't tell you that I have an easy answer to that, but here's the one thing I can tell you. God willing and I win, from the first moment, I'm going to be looking at ways to improve the way government operates. Because in my opinion, it isn't operating efficiently now.
Join the club. I think we have some problems here, too. We're talking to Robert Restaino. He's running for mayor. We're coming right back. We're live till 7:30 at 333-3020.
There's no leaving the house today.
Before you cleared the way when others couldn't. Before you chose award-winning innovation to take on winter's worst. You started with the Cub Cadet X Series of snow throwers. Right here at your local dealer. Home of expert advice, superior service, and exceptional financing. Welcome to Strongsville. Stop by your locally owned Cub Cadet dealer to see the X Series for yourself.
Hey, you may need a Cub Cadet snowblower in the next couple of days. It's going to be cold and wintry. I think we got a lot coming. And if you go out and see Mike and the gang at Niagara Lawn and Garden, they're around Saunders Settlement, just off Military. They can show you some great machines that are going to last. And you know what? If you weren't lucky enough to buy one last year and maybe the snowblower you got now isn't starting, they fix them too. But when you're out there, tell them you want to see the Cub Cadet. They got all sides of great outdoor equipment for you at Niagara Lawn and Garden. We're talking with Robert Restaino. He's running for mayor. He's got some ideas. I think there may be different ideas because, well, you know what? I'll take that back. They're not really different ideas, but nobody's acted on these old thoughts of, oh, let's bring in business, let's do it. And I guess my question and everything you're talking about, how do we do it? How do we accomplish it? How do we get it done? How do you say,
How has Buffalo done it?
Well, they've done it. If
We
you, right,
haven't.
if you, well, there's a couple of things. First of all, you know, Buffalo, being a larger city and having a greater draw potential because of the population base is obviously going to give an advantage. Second largest city in the state, it's got that kind of muscle. I think that Niagara Falls, and if you think about it, Buffalo has discovered the value of Niagara Falls.
No kidding.
So-
Buffalo Niagara this, Buffalo Niagara that.
That's right. So what I think we need to do is we need to take stock of how important we are to the Western New York
Right.
region. And I think we need to do as Buffalo has done, you know, just this past week, Mayor Brown in Buffalo has started to raise the question about why he's not getting a bigger share, why his city isn't getting a bigger share of the casino revenue that Buffalo gets. You know, do I think that casino money is the answer to all of our problems? Obviously not. It can be an answer to the development jobs question if we start using it right. But I think that those are the kinds of things that we also need to start asking. We need to start asking, why aren't we getting a bigger piece of the pie? Why are we in this community and all the host communities, we're shouldering the greatest burden of providing services
Right.
for our Native American casino neighbors, and yet we're not sharing greater in the revenue that is being given to the state. So I think we need to start asking those questions, just as Mayor Brown has done. But more specifically to your point, Sal, if I could say to you, well, you know, on the first day on the job, I'm going to pick up the phone, and all I need to do is make 2 or 3 phone calls, and 5,000 jobs are going to appear in Niagara Falls. If I could say that to you and not be whistling a happy tune out of my ear, I would do it. But the reality is that it's not going to happen like that. It's probably not going to happen as quickly as anybody's going to want it to happen. But in order to be able to do that, bring jobs back here, start to market the area. See, I think we need to market ourselves beyond just a tourist place, because tourism is great.
That was going to be my next question. Should we count on just tourism?
Niagara Falls is always going to be daredevils and barrels and wire walkers. That's what Niagara Falls is. We've been that way for all the history. But the reality is that the tourist industry, and I'll have a little more on that too, but the tourist industry isn't the only thing that's going to help Niagara Falls. We need to go after other jobs. We need to go after the kinds of things one of the folks on the phone was talking about, warehousing and logistics. We need to talk more about the healthcare industry. These are the new industries of today. Chemicals and carbon, that's not coming back. So those factories are gone. But there are other industries we can get into, today's industries, the tech stuff. And we've got the opportunity to provide that. Some people will bellyache about the power authority. And yes, I understand that perhaps we don't always get our fair share, but we already have low-cost power programs in place. And I think that developing as strong a relationship as we can with the power authority to afford those, that becomes another linchpin in the conversation that we have, because we're competing not just regionally, we're not even competing just nationally. I think we're competing internationally for jobs, because in today's market, a company can go anywhere. They can go anywhere they want. So we have to be able to package all that we offer here. Think about the fact that where we're located, if you're in a transportation business, just within a 4-hour radius, there's just a few million people there. That's just 4 hours. So if you think about the transportation opportunities here, throughway access, international bridges, we should be going out there and grabbing those kinds of opportunities by the throat and bringing them here. Plus, we have the opportunity to offer that.
We've heard this. We've heard this before. The same thing you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if they didn't do it or what happened. Is it possible they went to the transportation agencies? If they went and they said, "No, we're not interested," or how about another thought is the high taxes here in New York. Is that killing a city like us from doing something?
Well, you've seen that. You've seen a lot of that throughout the state of New York, where the business climate in New York is difficult because of taxes. There's no question about it.
Right.
Which is all the reason why most businesses will look for whatever incentives that government can provide. Now, a lot of folks rail against pilots, and as a member of the Board of Education, president of the Board of Education, I don't like it when we get notification of another pilot. But I also realize that that's the nature of business. If we, again, dug a moat around ourselves and said, okay, we're not going to deal in those types of development projects, all we're doing is excluding ourselves from the conversation. Because if every community does it, then the playing field's level. If we're the only ones doing it, then we're excluding ourselves from the conversation. And I happen to think that, if I can just go back to the tourist industry for a moment, I happen to think we need to figure out who we are as a tourist community. If, in fact, we are going to be dealing with family tourism, then we have to start thinking more seriously about family entertainment. There is not any family entertainment downtown. And I've been told more than once about not wanting to be like Canada. I don't know that we'll ever be like Canada. Canada has had a tremendous head start, and they've done an awful lot of things. But I can say this to you. We aren't even in the same league right now because we don't have anything to offer families. There isn't that type of family entertainment that when you come here is going to make your 9-year-old or your 6-year-old want to stay for a couple of extra days.
Right.
After you go to Rainforest Cafe, after you see the Maid of the Mist and the Hurricane Deck, what?
You're about done.
That again is something else we've heard for years. And we're going to bring Wonder Falls. We're going to bring this. We're going to bring family attractions. It never happened.
Well, I'm going to tell you something.
How are you going to change? How are you going to make the difference that what we're not seeing now?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I think some of that is, again, it's the focus of City Hall. I'm telling you what my focus is. My focus is to provide family entertainment as I understand it. As I understand family entertainment, that means that when the kids come off of the Scenic Parkway, they see something that excites them and the reason why they want to stay here. And they're happy that mom and dad decided to pick Niagara Falls as the place they're going to spend a week during the summer. Right now, once you take them to those exciting places, and don't misunderstand me, the Maid of the Mist is a great attraction. Just traveling down the steps in the Hurricane Deck and standing that close to the falls, those are incredible things for kids who have never been here.
No, you're right.
But there's got to be more.
You're right, but we had DiCenzo, for instance, that said,
and that was a mistake.
I will put millions in this hotel, and I will
wanted to do the water
and
park.
I will build a water park, and I'm not asking you for anything, and they wouldn't. Apparently, they wouldn't help him.
And that's a mistake. That's a mistake when he made, from what I understand, and I understand things only anecdotally from what I have read, when he made the ask for some additional assistance, some additional government incentive, and he was rebuffed.
That most other people get, I think.
And the idea was, well, we already have one of these coming. My approach is, if the idea behind development is that you can only have one,
Exactly.
then somebody needs to examine the heads of the people who run Universal Studios, because Orlando was already occupied by a place called Disney World, and that didn't scare Universal off.
Right.
They went down there and they built an amusement park anyway. And
Wait, we have one coming?
Yeah, but wouldn't
well,
it make
Where is
sense?
it? Where is it?
I know.
Wait a minute, wouldn't it make sense if any place, Niagara Falls could be the capital of water parks?
Instead-
I mean, you can have all different themes. You can have this water park does this, that water park does that. Why not?
Well, it's always been, and if you think about it, when you're raising your kids and you go to a location for entertainment, there are a variety of options. And so you're absolutely right. If the line is long at Wonder Falls, maybe you find yourself going over to
Exactly.
the other.
Build another Tim Hortons next door. They'll do just as good. That's right.
I mean, I don't understand why you're only allowed one.
We're
Kid-
coming.
oh, well.
We're coming back.
We're lucky if we get one.
Ever happen to notice how things are changing? We get our news and information from our smartphone or computer. We verify things online, and we text our friends instead of calling them. Well, now, if we want to remember a number, we put it in our cell phone, especially if we know someday we're going to need that number. So do yourself a favor right now and add Chris Moore's number to your cell phone. It's 523-5911. And when the time comes when you need an appliance repair, Chris's number will be right at your fingertips. If your dishwasher needs repair, your refrigerator, your freezer, your clothes dryer, with the season of family and friends coming to visit upon us, you'll want all of your home appliances in top working order and ready to go. So remember Chris Moore's number. Put it in your cell phone, 523-5911. Throw out those sticky notes and put the number in your cell phone. When you need it, you'll have it right at your fingertips. Now you know why they call it a smartphone. Chris Moore's Appliance Repair, 523-5911. I like to call this the fun time of year. It's time for entertaining and to visit with friends and relatives and to pick out a special gift for a certain someone. You know what that makes it? It makes it the perfect time to visit Supermarket Liquors and Wines, Niagara's largest liquor store with all your favorites to choose from at Niagara Falls Boulevard and Military Roads. Now, if you want a preview, you can check them out online right now at supermarketliquor.com. They're open 7 days a week, late nights, Friday and Saturday till midnight, with plenty of free, brightly lit parking in front of the store. And there's always plenty of cashiers there to speed you on your way if you're in a hurry. But if you want to browse, it's Niagara's largest liquor store with great gift-giving ideas and selections, whether it's wine or liquors. You know, when you're as big as Supermarket Liquors and Wines, a great gift doesn't have to be expensive. And you can see what I mean when you check out their specially custom bottled tequila and bourbons, handpicked by owner Chris Castellani at Supermarket Liquors and Wines. Supermarket Liquors and Wines in the Mill Pine Plaza on Niagara Falls Boulevard, just moments from the Fashion Outlet Mall. Visit them soon or check them out right now at supermarketliquor.com. We're talking with Robert Restaino. He's running for mayor in the city of Niagara Falls, and we're taking your calls if you want to chime in, 333-3020. We have about 10 minutes left on the show. Live Friday night. If you're watching it after the first hour, which would be till 7:30, it's not live anymore. It's Memorex.
Can I ask my question now?
Yes, you can ask your question.
Well, this is near and dear to my heart because I figure like the area around the falls, the state is kind of taking care of that stuff and, hotels and this and that. I'm a Pine Avenue baby, okay? So you get into the neighborhoods like Pine Avenue, which is like a core of the city. What can we do? I mean, there's pockets of it that are fine. There's a lot of vacant buildings. And you look at these streets in Buffalo, I'm just using the term Buffalo in general. You look like at a Hurdle Avenue.
Right.
You look at streets like that went from and now up. Got any thoughts on the local neighborhoods and what we can do to get them going again.
I agree with your assessment of the downtown, the tourist corridor. I do think that the state has worked very hard to make sure that, the entrance area, the whole welcome mat to the state park is seeing some, polish.
Yeah.
But do I think more can be done there? Absolutely, I do. But that's why I'm saying to you what I'm saying this evening. To me, I would just as soon go to the folks at Empire State Development or the Niagara Tourism Group. I'd like to just go to them and say, look, you guys and gals apparently have this under control here. You're doing what you have to do here, and that's great. And if you need the mayor's office to come and assist in any way, we're happy to do that. But my focus is going to be on the business communities that exist outside of this area. Pine Avenue, Niagara Street, that Buffalo Avenue strip that's out there as well, and Main Street. Now, I have a different idea about some of these areas than perhaps what others have talked about. I'm not necessarily sure that Main Street comes back, and the funny thing is, my wife and I were driving along Main Street, and she said to me, she goes, I remember coming down here, and it was always exciting, and there were places to see, and you'd window shop and all that stuff.
Yep.
Now, I'm not trying to say to anybody that we're going to go back in time, that somehow or another I have some Wayback Machine that can take us back. No, it's not going to happen. And part of that is because retail's changed. The whole idea of how people shop and what they do has changed. But what hasn't changed is the fact that we've constructed in that northern Main Street corridor, we have built the police station and courthouse. We have other government entities that are down there. We have Family and Children's Services, which is private, but it assists in many of the court services. We have the Gerald Donovan Learning Center. We have Community Center City down that way. So we already have what I like to say are government entities down there. Now, you mentioned Buffalo. If you remember, take a look at Niagara Square. Niagara Square is all government. It's
Right.
courthouses.
Right.
It's all of that kind of development.
Which makes sense together.
Right.
Yep.
And so I think that we're spread out in the city of Niagara Falls. The city of Niagara Falls never grew in a planned way, but a lot of the old cities never grew in a planned way. But now we have a chance. We've got Main Street that is empty. We have an opportunity now to move, I believe, and this will take a lot of work. Sal, to your point, what I'm saying to you right now doesn't happen in the first 20 days that the new mayor gets in there. But I think the plan for that area should be to enhance its public government offerings, bury the things that need to be done in there because it's on a bus route. It provides for the community to be able to get to those things. Everything from from the social services building all the way through to the Department of Motor Vehicles. With regard to Pine Avenue, that's where I grew up, and my wife. And so I look at Pine Avenue, and I shake my head. There are some good folks on the Pine Avenue redevelopment group, and they're trying to bring that heartbeat back. But I think what they need to help from City Hall to jumpstart that, and that sometimes means things as simple as making the neighborhood more attractive because of safety issues. That may mean being able to assist, perhaps, in getting better lighting and utility from the power authority. Maybe it's trying to be a partner with them to help make it more inviting to business, because that area is always going to be a small business community. It's built on the backs of small business.
And it's a busy street.
It is. It still is today.
It still is today.
Brings me to my next question, and something I want to say. First of all, I just want to congratulate Tom Licata, our
Yes.
new police chief in the city,
Good friend.
being sworn in. That brings up my question.
Yeah.
Do you think Niagara Falls is safe?
I think as a resident of the community, I know myself, I don't have any fear wherever I go. I don't have that feeling. But you can't help, but you can't ignore the news and the information. You can't ignore the fact that there are sections of the city that are difficult. I have many friends who are in law enforcement. They tell me what it's like out there in some parts of the city. So I think part of it is perception, Okay, part of it's perception, but another part of it is there really are some rough areas in the community. And I think it's another piece. I think we need to work look, downtown, just take a look at the downtown tourist area. You have a number of police agencies all working in that area, but they kind of work without intersecting with one another. You know, I could list for you, if you invited the county sheriff into the tourist area, that would make 6 separate law enforcement agencies that are down there. We could throw a safety net over the area from Portage Road to the Rainbow Bridge and from the Upper Niagara River to Main Street. We could throw a safety net over it so that we don't have the kinds of things that happen during a tourist season ever happening down there. And in doing that, perhaps even deploy more of our local men and women into the community to provide additional safety in those business corridors. You know, the funny thing about the downtown area and the ability to make it safe is that if we can get all of those police agencies on the same page, if we can find a way to smooth out what might be perhaps union issues, perhaps it's just turf issues. I don't know what it is.
Got to be able to be done.
Territorial.
Got to be able to be done because I'll tell you, I work for Town of Niagara Police, and they work hand in hand with the sheriff's department,
Yeah.
with the Lewiston Police, with the state troopers. You go to a call, everybody, if you need help, they show up. There's not a problem. So it can be done.
And so you've got Park Police and Border Patrol,
Right.
you've got the Customs folks, you got all kinds of police
Absolutely.
agencies down there. So I believe, once again, you could throw a safety net over that. You could do to, and I'm not saying that the tourist area is this scary place, like, ooh, don't go there, but we can actually have enough law enforcement presence where we could do to downtown what they did to Times Square. Times Square way back when was a
You wouldn't
nightmare.
go near it, yeah.
Exactly
Go
what I've
nowhere
been
near it.
Yeah.
exactly what I've been saying. We're talking to Robert Restaino. We're coming back with our closing statements. Stick around. At the Wellness Park Pharmacy at 86th and Buffalo Avenue and the Community Medical Pharmacy on Michigan Avenue just off Main Street, you're not just another customer, and your needs are important. To them, you're a somebody.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
Now under new ownership, both pharmacies will see to it that you get the personal service that you deserve. Want to give them a try? Then call right now, 260-1918, and tell them you want to switch your prescriptions over to the Wellness Park Pharmacy or Community Pharmacy in Niagara Falls. They'll make all the phone calls to make it happen. And both pharmacies offer free home prescription delivery. And when you have them on the phone, be sure to ask about their wide selection of CBD products. Available in creams, oils, gummies, and much, much more. Get all the details today by calling 260-1918. The Wellness Park Pharmacy at 86th and Buffalo Avenue and the Community Medical Pharmacy on Michigan Avenue just off Main. Call 260-1918.
Where everybody knows your name. Everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came.
We have a couple of minutes left here with Robert Restaino. Before we let you give your closing statement, I'm just curious. I'm going to make it available to all the candidates
Right.
who want to debate, who will sit here face to face and discuss all these issues. Will you do it?
I'm happy to do it. Happy to do it.
There's a couple others that said they would too, so
Good.
we'll try to put it together.
Good.
Somebody wants to get a hold of you or they want to get involved in your campaign, they want more information, where do they go?
Well, Restaino for Mayor is the site that you can go to. Certainly my number, 285-8185. We have we're going to have a headquarters spread out throughout the community. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have a central headquarters. We'll have a headquarters in the southeastern part of the city along Buffalo Avenue. We're going to have a headquarters in the northern portion of the city too, along Ontario. So that what we're going to do is we're going to try to make sure that those who want to get to us can get to us. We've had some wonderful volunteer opportunities from folks right now. Folks who are calling and wanting to see what they can do to sign up and help.
Well, we're gonna give you an opportunity to come back. In fact, I'm gonna invite you right during the campaign to come back on a regular basis, as I am all the candidates.
Happy to.
Want to hear what you got coming up, and of course, local news on our radio station. Your press release, something you're doing. Let us know about it, and best of luck. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Robert Restaino, ladies and gentlemen, he's running for mayor in the city of Niagara Falls.
Thank you.